Hello friends, family, and other creatures of the sea, and welcome back to another high-level game of StarCraft 2. Today we have Serral in the top right spawning as our Blues are clear playing for Team Ents, of course. And in the top left here of Stargazers, we have none other than Cure as our red Terran player playing for Team Dragon Phoenix Gaming. Exciting little game on Stargazers, one of the maps that we don't see that much in Zerg versus Terran, and when we do see it, it often goes into a rather late game. Just the way that the map is set up. It's difficult for Zerg to end games before the, well, what should I say, 25-minute mark. Relatively easy 4-base defense for Terran, even that 5th base is pretty free as well. And the first real point of contention is this 6th. Zerg ideally wants to get the gold, but it's also difficult to hold due to drops. You have a couple of nice tank locations here up on high grounds. Overall, it's just a tricky map. Ooh, I like this out of Cure here. Look at that. Command Center first against Serral. And Serral is a player that has shown in the past that whenever he plays against Command Center first, he's keen on getting that Overlord speed. The reason for this is because it's often difficult to scout what's going on, and 2-base all-ins can hit really hard from a Command Center first. We've also seen Command Center first interfest triple CC and then cutting worker production. Basically just, what is that? Oh my god, that's a reflection? You saw the reflection of the Overlord in the water here. I've never seen that before. I didn't know that was possible. I was like, man, that is a weird looking creature that's swimming in the water. Come on, send an Overlord over there. I want to see it again. That looked proper sick. I did not know StarCraft was that advanced already, that they had this type of stuff, like some cool looking reflections. Freaking purple water. It was from the bottom and everything. You saw the little legs? I bet that took a lot of work, having the proper reflection from the bottom. Then again, I know nothing about game design, so maybe it was like the click of one button. Oh, look, we're gonna see it. Look at this. Maybe I can't turn my camera the other way. No reflection? He probably flew too far to the bottom. I swear it was there earlier. I didn't make it up. I really didn't make it up. What I also didn't make up, hopefully, is the, Overlord speed. Here we see two workers still in gas. This is extremely uncommon in the Zerg versus Terran matchup. You only really do this when you're playing against CC first. Now, how did Serral figure that out? He didn't see the command center, but he saw the barracks timing. And with that barracks timing, he knows that it's going to be, indeed, a CC first. Now, Terrans could pull a little trick by playing like 3 Rex Reaper. If you know that a Zerg scouts like this, and you just put your second barracks in the wall, and then the Zerg's like, oh, this is going to be a CC first. Then you show with like 7 Reapers. Your opponent's getting Overlord speed. That's kind of ideal, but it's not what's going to be happening here. A couple of rocks will be taken out by these links. As we see a starport on the way in the main base, double gases as well coming down, and our first 2 cars together with continued marine production. Now, the continued marine production is not super uncommon, but every marine that you build delays your 3rd command center. So there needs to be a purpose for it, right? If you build 4 marines, that is, well, usually you just get a single one. So that would be 150 minerals of delay on your 3rd command center, which is quite bad. If you only build 2, it could just be that you want to really deny your opponent's scouting. That's not going to happen though, because Serral is, of course, getting that Overlord speed, as mentioned before. It's going to finish up in 10-ish seconds or so, and we'll see the first bad boys rolling in. Viking will not be out quite yet. If a Viking even is going to start here, no, we're seeing a fusion core, okay. This is going to be a lovely scout here for Serral. We'll see it immediately with this first Overlord. Double Marines, ooh. Oh. Wait, is this real stim? This is fake stim. This is fake stim. I'm calling it now. This is a fake stim upgrade. Oh, you should have faked the cloak and the Banshee as well. I'm not sure why I didn't do that. Serral hasn't actually spotted the fusion core yet. Okay, now he's gonna spot it though. Managed to sneak his way in. Yeah, fake stim. I called it. Beautiful stuff. It was just showing to that Overlord. It's like, hey, I'm getting stim already. That either means that I'm getting Banshees here or Vikings behind it. But then when the Overlord didn't see Cloak or a Banshee producing, you also know that the stim is fake. Because you always get Cloak and the Banshee before you start researching stim. Stim is really expensive when it comes to gas in the early game for Terran. So it's a couple of clean reads that Serral could have made there. And I think he made it. He just wanted that confirmation with the Overlord. So first BC is on the way, and what does this do, this scout? So you could say, well, he scouted it, but there's going to be an air unit anyway, so what really is the difference? Well, the difference that we have right now for Serral is that he can continue mining longer with more workers from the minerals. And that is because he doesn't need to build the spores at, let's say, 435, like you usually would against a 2-base Terran. Not quite sure what the CC with the CC first timing, but basically you can delay the spores a little bit, and that means that you're gonna mine more. Every single second that a drone mines is about 1 mineral per drone. So if you have 3 drones mining 20 seconds more, that's already 60 minerals that you're saving. And it doesn't sound like a whole lot, but it is nice anyway. On top of that, you also know how many units you need to build exactly, because you know what your opponent is doing. You know if it's going to be a Hell Battalion, you know whether it's going to be mech, or you know it's going to be bio behind it. So we see another send in here with this Overlord. I think the first battlecruiser just teleported somewhere. Yep, there we go. Teleported in between the next one and the third. A cute position. Did not manage to get a single kill yet though. And although it is a cute position, it's also a position that is reachable from both sides, which means that right now Kjur could actually be in a little bit of trouble here. One queen is going to end up falling. That was the queen with the transfuse as well, which makes this extra painful. There's really no safe hiding positions here whatsoever for this battlecruiser. Spore is going to reposition as well. Nah, top right also isn't safe against queens, is it? Queens could go for a bit of a chase. I'm not quite sure if they will be capable of getting this battlecruiser. Each queen shot, of course, 6 damage, and with only 3 queens here, not enough creep leading into this, I don't think this BC is going to end up falling down, but it was pretty darn close. Had these 2 queens joined a little bit quicker and they weren't just making out next to the mineral patch, you see that? They were pretending like they wanted to walk, but they knew what they were doing. Just smooching there in between the gas and the mineral patch. Ay. There's some high school things right there. You're gonna get a break and immediately go at it. Unbelievable. Overlord gets taken out here by, I assume this to be the second battlecruiser. There's 12 mutas on the way. We've seen Serral do this before, and I've questioned these decisions before. The Mutalisk over the Corruptor, because the Muta is just weaker when it comes to dealing with the battle cruisers, but they do have the possibility of harassing bases rather effectively. There's a turret going down already. There's plenty of turrets, honestly. And if you don't deal a lot of damage with these mutas, you basically have a crap corruptor that you just built 12 of, and apparently 3 more on the way as well. Infestation pit goes down here, same time as the first Evo chamber. And that's kind of wild. You don't see this every day. I think we already had how do you see that? There we go. The Yamato cannon. A mine is going to get a muta kill. I think these mutas are going to be completely useless, honestly. At least early on here. 4 base on location. Alien's going for a run by. Mutas have to return back home to try and deal with that. Or at least Serral believed for a second they had to go back home. A lot of time is being wasted with these mutas, and we have more in production. Muta Swarm Host. Okay. This also is a Serral special. Serral, one of the only players that enjoys playing Mutalisk plus Swarm Host. We'll have to wait and see if it's going to work out. Now, the beauty of having the Overlord speed is that when you build an Overseer, is that it can kind of, well, it can almost keep up with the mutas. So, if you spot a little bit of a mine, you can right-click it and take it out. +1's about to finish up for them. Mutalisk, we have 2, perhaps? Yeah, 2 mutas, I think, going down there. So, no, 3 must have gone down, because 4 have died in total already. So yeah, these mutas have really achieved nothing whatsoever. I guess the one thing they do achieve is getting a couple of Thors out. But Kjur's playing this very carefully as well. He's immediately switching back into tank, saying, hey, I don't want to get caught by like a roach boost or maybe by some swarm host. I need some units that deal well with those things. And tanks often are a very solid answer. Double Yamatos going off here, which means 2 more Mutalisks will get taken out. I mean, let's just take a look at the units lost here. 1600 resources lost for Serral. And only 1000 lost for Kjur. Doesn't seem like a huge deal that Serral is losing these mutas, but he hasn't achieved anything with them, and he's on a very low worker count as well. And that is the thing that does kind of worry me. A couple of mines are going to hit, turrets help out for sure. Battlecruisers need to get in position. I mean, you can, if these were like 15 Corruptors, maybe you can fly in and try to fight one of the BCs, but with 14 mutas, I would not recommend it, right? I'm gonna try it, but I think you're just going to lose Mutalisk. More and more mutas are going to go down. This is all of a very low eco. So despite Serral having a good supply right now, I'm not sure what his position is in this game. Is it actually a good position in this game? He's down in upgrades. his eco is not much better than his opponent's. He's not mining from the gold yet on the bottom side, which is an important base to start mining from ASAP. And he's not getting any real damage done with these swarm host wave yet either. As long as the Terran supply is growing, the swarm hosts simply aren't working. Okay, here we go with an attack into these BCs. We see one Muta going down, other Muta will get a transfuse. One of the things that we often see against big swarm host counts is that the Terran player... Oh, Serral, no! Oh my god! Was like 10, 11 Mutas there, not paying attention to his army for 2-3 seconds. That was terrible for him. What I was gonna say is that we often see Terrans continue battlecruiser production because they can just shoot down 4, you know, if you get 4 or 5 swarm hosts, 4 or 5 battlecruisers, you can just shoot down 4 or 5 swarm hosts every single time the Yamatos go off cooldown. It also helps against the anti-air unit that the Zerg builds, whether that's Corruptors or Mutas, in this case Mutalis. I honestly wouldn't mind that if we just see one extra BC. I also kind of like that Cure is doing it right now though. Not going to be complaining about this. It's already up to 6 stores. He's going to get a 7th. 2-2 upgrades halfway done. I'm kind of feeling a 2-2 upgrade timing, and I'm wondering how Serral is planning on dealing with that. He has 10 swarm hosts. He has 19 Murales. This is not exactly a fighting army that's going to win the war, you know? It really is. Like, they're good units for dealing some damage over time, and especially the swarm host is fairly capable when it comes to that, but what are you getting with this wave? A Cyclone? A Hellbat? That's not really worth it. He gets this base at the same time, though he's probably quite okay. Banelings indeed are going to connect with that. Planetary gets taken out. There's no backup base yet, but don't forget that Cure still on 4 bases mining. 77 workers, 11 minutes in the game. Sure, he mined out like one of his bases, but all the others are still fine. He's not going to have any major oversaturation. Maybe 4 or 5 workers will be oversaturating. That's about it. 2 things that Cure could decide to do here. He either could really just go for that push, like a 2-2 push that I was talking about. I mean, 2-2 finishing up right now. Or he can add a couple of barracks and try to get into Ghost from this point. Honestly, Ghost would be fantastic against the current composition. This is a lot of Mutalists that are jumping in towards the natural. Don't think there's quite enough anti-air here. One PC is actually in a little bit of trouble. It's going to get teleported back in towards the main base. Tank will get blasted as well by more Mutalists. I think we've seen 6 Mutas fall so far in this fight. Doors are going to move in though. And that is quickly going to diminish the Muta count once again. This fight started with 21 Mutas. 11 have gone down. What has Cure lost? A couple of turrets, maybe? A Hellbat, half a Cyclone. This is all really annoying, but resources lost are starting to lean in favor of the Terran player in a pretty big way, with about a 2-to-1 ratio. Ground Carapace level 1 is finally finishing up. Melee attacks level 1 are about to finish up as well here for Serral, and could be somewhat big. What do we have here? We have a mine. It's going to connect. Is it going to connect? Is it going to... Poof. It indeed is going to connect. At the same time, though, Swarm Host Wave that I just missed. Locusts take out this planetary. This type of scenario, I almost always feel like, rather than having a planetary there, maybe it's better to have an orbital. If you're relatively compact in your setup, you can just lift that base when Banelings or Locusts come in and the base is safe. Locust can only shoot something that's on the ground, but people sometimes forget about that. This looks to be a scary push, by the way. There's a couple of Ravagers, 6. How is the fighting army looking here for Serral? 19 Banes on the way as well. This is a well-upgraded Terran army, and Serral has a less well-upgraded Zerg army, which also involves a bunch of Swarm Hosts. Banelings right now are rolling in. Corruptors are going to make short work of these battle cruisers. It's the Banelings getting the connections that they want, I guess, with the Hellbats. It's the Roaches and the Ravagers in the back try to do some damage, do end up getting pulled back. Lots of these Corruptors actually do end up falling, but 2 battle cruisers also have gone down. +3 halfway done right now. +3 halfway done right now for Cure. A little over halfway actually. Actually, it's more like 80%. It's not a little over halfway. You can basically see the finish line of that upgrade. Third BC also dies. That's kind of painful. Nice network on the way right now for Serral, as Serral also started mining from the gold base, and that's an essential base here in this game. Most likely is actually going to be a very essential base in this game. Nidus network on the bottom side with these Swarm Hosts in it could really deal some damage. This is what I'm just worried about. Locust Wave is going to actually fight rather well. Hellbats are not in high enough numbers, I think, to deal with the Locust in a proper way. That means that these Locusts are going to deal way too much damage. Cure struggling to max out, perhaps slightly too far on the map. I think as a Terran player here, you either need to kind of push quickly or you stay at home and turtle and get a solid defense. Right now, he's holding this very forward position with a non-maxed army. He's consistently trading slightly more mediocre than he was at home, but he's also not really having any objectives here, right? There's no target for him inside. Like, he's just kind of bleeding out units. He's making it easier for Serral, it almost feels like. Hellbat count once again rather low. Locusts are going to get taken out, and this seems like it could actually be somewhat of a decent fight here. No Cure stands in a bunch of those biles, is going to lose one more Thor there. Nidus Network does finish up on the bottom side. We have a hatchery being taken there as well, so Serral not just okay with mining that gold base, now is going to start taking away minerals from his opponent's side of the map. That's a very big play. If he succeeds with this, it's going to be huge. We actually do see Cure continuing to attack, and take a look at that resources lost. Before it was with about a 2-to-1 ratio, 11k to 6k. Right now, it's not even close to a 2-to-1 ratio, it's almost 1-to-1. And that's always going to be good for a Zerg player, because they mine a lot quicker, and most likely are also going to mine more in this entire game. Swarmos once again coming in with that Locust Wave. +2 isn't even done yet for these Locusts. Imagine that, these are +1 Locust against +3 armored tanks and Thors, and yet they're getting trade after trade after trade. There's a big enough bank that I think Serral can give up one base for now. We have a couple of links here in the natural, taking out 11 SCVs. Cure actually struggling to, well, with everything right now. Isn't maxed out, does not have a lot of workers, lost his bottom side base somehow, some way as well. There's, probably to these Corruptors. Corruptors also trying to snipe these Orbital at this point. Cure is pushing forward, and this is a powerful army. 108 army supply against 114. Next Swarm Host wave is going to go across the map. This feels like a risk. This really does feel like a risk. Is this an unnecessary risk? Maybe. Maybe it was, because the Corruptors were already dealing with this base. At the same time, though, Locust will pick up some of these units. One Hellbat, one tank will end up going down. More SCVs falling as well. We had a Nidus here, kind of like a flanking Nidus. Not so sure what it's for. Swarm Host, I guess, if they can come from the back, are going to be quite useful. Bottom side base is being mined from right now. Pathogen Glance is on the way. Ground Carapace as well as missile attacks here coming in. Serral in a bit of trouble, though. He's desperately trying to get out more and more Ravagers. Needs to wait for that next Swarm Host wave. Is definitely going to come from the back with them. Uh-oh, Swarm Hosts are being taken out by the reinforcements. Serral, in perhaps a little bit of trouble, is running out of cash as well right now. Still has 90 army supply, but Cure also still has 83 and has the superior upgrades. Neural Parasite on the way, 18 Roaches coming in. It feels like Serral is getting kind of choked out here. A couple of Hellions towards the bottom side bases could perhaps deal some magic, but well, actually Serral's already prepared with spines everywhere, so maybe that won't be it. Here comes another attack out of Serral into this tanked up position. And feels like once more Cure's getting an okay-ish trade. 61 army supply against 70. Is there any infestors on the map yet? There's not. A couple of Neural Parasite could perhaps change the outcome of this game. Every single Swarm Host has gone down, which means that the only units that are here right now are literally just these 11 Ravagers. That's it. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. 11 Ravagers. Nothing more. Nothing less. No, actually, now there's a little bit more. And there's also less Ravagers. So both of these statements were incorrect. It's 9 Ravagers and now 7 Roaches as well. Yeah, these Cyclones were a brilliant little call here, allowing you to engage with these Ravagers a bit faster, like basically ahead of time, before they can get their biles down on top of the tanks. Because Serral's plan is just to bile one tank down at a time, but of course that doesn't work if you can have these Cyclones lock on first. Hellbats in the front, couple of Roaches once again gonna get taken out. 77 army supply here for Cure against the 62 of Serral, and I do believe that Serral, well, I don't want to say he's dead, but he's definitely in a fair chunk of trouble. Still has some larva here on the bottom side. I'm not sure if he doesn't want to build from there or what's going on. I mean, Cure still is being heavily outmined, and Serral's playing this very, very careful. Biles need to connect with this. I would not mind seeing a single fungal, single infestor, either for a fungal or for a neural parasite on the tanks. Would definitely be useful. Ravager's moving back right now. Serral he has so many drones, and he's mining a lot. But the trades, look at that. When we started over here, it was, what, 22k to 19k. Now it's 45 to 33. So it has been going pretty poor over the last 3.5 minutes. This is a pretty sick game, though. The patience out of Serral here, just waiting until he has a bigger bank and enough units to try and break this, is pretty impressive. He actually is going to try to go for a break right now. Ravagers being targeted down. 5 Cyclones were stuck in the back, not really participating in this fight whatsoever. And Serral, well, actually breaks this position. And I think now Cure is going to realize that he could have taken out these bottom side bases already with maybe just 2 or 3 Cyclones. Didn't even have to just be pure Hellion, but Cyclones take out bases so fast. A lot of mining was done in this 2 to 3 minute period, both by this bottom side base as well as the left side base. I don't even think Cure is aware of that base yet. He's going to see a little bit of creep, but he probably believes that's just because of the Nidus network. He's going to find the base right now, and he's going to be disappointed. He's going to be surprised and disappointed at the same time. Might actually end up losing a bunch of these Cyclones. Tries to kite back, but right now the production for Serral is simply too high. He has 3k mineral income, about 600 gas. But the problem is, Serral can just retake bases, he can take it slow, he can decide how he wants to fight. And if Serral can decide how he wants to fight, these fights are going to get way better. He's not being choked out right now, he can make very calm decisions, and he can decide what fights to go for. So far it's not actually working out too much. Yeah, there's simply no pressure. It has 90 army supply against 50. A couple of infestors now are being created, because he does have plenty of time to get those out. And I think Cure is actually in a world of trouble right now. He's going to try to get a lock on here on the hatchery. Will probably get it, actually, won't he? Ooh, Fungal's going to connect with 2 of those Cyclones. Tank in the back is going to get taken out here by these corrosive biles. So one Ravager manages to barely escape. What are the kills on these Ravagers? Relatively low. Such an expensive unit for so little return, almost, it feels like. 7 kills. It's all roaches as well. 8 kills. Lots of kills on these Cyclones, but don't think it's quite going to be enough. The scouting starport, he's seen a lot. Just wants to retire. He's going to start flying home. He doesn't get burned down. There has to be a guy in there, right? A pilot in the starport that flies it. Aimlessly floating around. Single Hellbat will do a bit of damage to the drones on the other side of the map. Serral lost a bit of mining, but Cure just simply isn't mining enough. And hasn't been mining enough in a long, long time. These Corruptors really did a number on Cure. It's very rare that peeing on buildings actually gets you a win, but I believe that's what happened here. Had Cure not lost this planetary to the 6 peeing Corruptors, and then also lost the orbital command to the same Corruptors, this time however not with peeing, but just by attacking it, I believe. I don't think that Serral could have won this game, because there would have just been too much income here for Cure. Cure perhaps would have wanted to expand to the bottom side faster and then found that base. It really would have been a completely different game. Losing that bottom base was terrible, terrible for Cure. But now, yeah, Serral in a very dominant position, and he's just waiting it out, but 124 supply to 45. You know, Overlord drop coming in. It's going to go, a double Overlord drop, actually. This is a Serral classic on this map. He's going to try and deny some of these mineral patches from mining. It's not going to matter too much. Going to catch this mine. Pop. Hellbats will morph quickly, take out a couple of links, but do get swarmed eventually. Yeah, this game is fairly over right now. Cure is just the one that still needs to realize it. One Fungal will hit there. The dying wish of the Infestor was to take out the Cyclones. Won't get his dying wish. So 2 of the 4 will go down, and the other as well. Gonna get killed by the links as well. Neural Parasite going down on the tank. GG gets skulled as Serral wins the game here on Stargazer. Pretty back and forth game, where at some point I really did believe that that Cure actually had it. I really believe. This push, it lasted so long, from like 17 minutes. Yeah, this is the base that I was talking about. If that one hadn't gone down, maybe you fly this one over towards the far bottom side already. And then you scout that quicker. And you deny some mining there, which would be huge. I mean, the only reason that Serral managed to stay alive was because of his superior mining. Yeah, this fight legit lasted for like 22 minutes. It's crazy. Just literally a never-stopping fight that lasts for 5 minutes. Don't really see that very much in StarCraft 2. We saw this game. Sick. Alright, that's going to be it for me today. Thanks all so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hopefully I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Thank you, and bye. Bye.